Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing
Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
I remember pieces, memories of different men. And I saw it. Your name. Victor Frankenstein.
So, I'm not someone who's ever engaged with Frankenstein. I've not read the book and I've not watched the subsequent movies. Not because I think they're bad, but because it was too kind of gothic for me, and I wasn't really that interested in the gothic genre previously, and now I'm like, or whatever. But basically, yeah, I think Mary Shelley is the gothic queen. I know what the story is about because it's such an iconic kind of story that's been transformed in so many ways across pop culture. So it's not like I'm a complete stranger to it. You would have to be living under a rock to be a stranger to Frankenstein.
exact. I think with Frankenstein, Mary Shelley basically created one of those foundational, gothic horror sci-fi thing. She did genuinely transform the fictional landscape on which a lot of sci-fi horror is built. It's just incredible. And Guillermo del Toro is the perfect person, it feels like, to direct this. If you've seen anything else he's made, this man feels like he would want to live in that world, very much so.
Exactly. And he does that really, really well in this film because from the very first shot, you can tell that this is a Guillermo del Toro film. Looking at the settings of the mise en scène, looking at the kind of lighting and the cinematography and the kind of color schemes that are being used, you can tell that this is author Guillermo del Toro's film. And
Amazing.
I think it works really well under his kind of lens because it doesn't stray from the intended kind of visual or mood or environment, but it kind of just amplifies it to 1,000%.
I'm so envious I've not been able to watch it yet.
I'm gonna preface by saying I don't think this is a perfect film, but I definitely think it's a really, really good film. Yeah. But to kind of get into it, Victor Frankenstein is played by Oscar Isaac, and the creature, or Frankenstein's creature, is played by Jacob Elordi.
Such an interesting choice.
I know, right? Elizabeth Harlander and also Frankenstein's mother, Claire Frankenstein, is played both by Mia Goth, which I will be getting to later.
Another interesting choice.
Yeah, and then you have a good assortment of actors like Christoph Waltz as Hendrik Harlander, who's the kind of patron to Frankenstein's mad genius, who, in every role Christoph Waltz is in, he just plays strange, unhinged characters, but I think he,
love him.
really does well. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, it has a good enough cast of ultra famous people, and then, great supporting cast as well. But I think acting is not where this film shines.
Is it where it disappoints though?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
I was getting to that. What I was going to say is it's not where it shines, but it's also not, it's not bad. It's good acting.
Okay.
I don't think the point of this film is to act. I think Frankenstein gives, the story itself gives the actors plenty to do with. You don't need to tap in anywhere. You don't need to kind of go beyond what the source material provides you.
Because I think world building is a great part of Frankenstein, but it has a lot of strong character moments just built into the narrative.
Exactly. So the character does all the work. The actor just kind of has to, very basic, just embody the character. Which I think...
Oh yeah, it's like teeing up an easy shot for the actors to hit out of the park.
Exactly. And I think Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi and Mia Goth as the kind of three main characters of this film do a really, really good job of just taking their characters and running with the source material. So I think the acting is something
Amazing.
I'm okay about. The casting choice, though, of Jacob Elordi would seem quite interesting because it's what happened here? Right, a lot of people have been really skeptical about it. But I was really, really like, yes. After watching the film, I was like, yes, I think Jacob Elordi was perfect for this.
Elaborate.
Because the creature, Frankenstein's creature, is this kind of tall, unrecognizable, other humanly, like non-human, yet kind of still human thing. And you're not meant to be able to recognize it. And I think putting a really famous actor in a not meant to be recognized role is really interesting, because there are bits that once you realize this is Jacob Elordi, you can start telling that it's Jacob Elordi. But that's only towards the end, when the creature starts becoming more and more settled into his own skin.
I also find it very interesting to use an actor who's like seemed so conventionally attractive, right? As this like hideous creature who is like seen as unnatural and unhuman. I think that's such an interesting casting choice as
Exactly.
well.
Exactly. That was kind of like going to be my next point as well, which was like, when you think of Jacob Elordi, you think he has been put up as this ideal, iconic, male platonic picture, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of been kind of typecast in a lot of his roles. I'm thinking
Hmm.
like Euphoria, The Kissing Booth, Saltburn. The one thing that was kind of a little different was he played Elvis in Priscilla, but then it was still the same kind of role
Yeah.
where he had to just be pretty and manipulative.
Yeah. It's a lot of his role from Euphoria just rehashed, basically.
Exactly, yeah. I think this film really could have been seen as an opportunity for him to liberate himself, because he's not in his own skin.
Okay.
He is literally someone else.
Yeah.
Someone who has been pieced together.
He's very much playing a specific character. Yeah.
Exactly. I think Jacob Elordi really, really worked here. And I feel like Mia Goth as well. She just has this ephemerality to her, this kind of mystery to her that works really, really well. She's kind of small and wispy, but still has this kind of assertiveness to her that I think works really well for Elizabeth Harlander as well, like the character. And then Oscar Isaac, he's kind of joked about this himself. He is like the racially ambiguous guy who can play any amount of roles. And yeah, I mean,
so true. God has blessed him like that.
Exactly. He's just a brilliant actor, I feel. And this this is like a demonstration. This is like a good demonstration of it. But what I really want to focus on is the set of this film, because that's what Guillermo del Toro's films are known for.
Go off. Please go off.
It's so wonderfully set up, and it's so immersed in the kind of old Victorian Gothic aesthetic. I mean, I'm thinking of moments like when we first see Claire Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein's mother, Mia Goth as her, and they're kind of standing outside the steps of their house waiting for like Victor's father to show up, and she's wearing this red, it's not a dress, but they're not robes, and it's just this red tulle kind of thing flowing all around her as though she's kind of being wafted away. And
amazing.
I think just that image is like so, it just encapsulates Guillermo del Toro's style really, really, really well.
I think Guillermo del Toro makes you through the visuals feel like you're there. Like, even if you're not there, his visuals captured the feeling of the characters in such an incredible way. And it doesn't matter what medium, even like in Pinocchio, where he was using stop motion and stuff, he's just able to use the aesthetic to capture the film's emotion so well.
Exactly. So I feel like the set is beautiful. The kind of tower in which Frankenstein makes the creature is like, it's horrific. It's ruined basically. And you can really, really tell that he chose this kind of really thoughtfully. The kind of music really, it doesn't overshadow, but it kind of blends into the themes of the plot that's going on. And because this is a very well-worked plot, well-worked in the sense that everyone knows what's going to happen, right? It gives him a lot of liberty to play with how it looks. And I think that's also where it kind of falls short for me though, because this is a Netflix distributor film. And there are certain moments where in the plot itself and in the kind of setting, you kind of go, Okay, you know Netflix was involved. There's a certain aesthetic Netflix also has. If you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
It's like this was shot on an iPhone look without any creatively tweaking afterwards. Like you
Exactly.
took it from the camera and you just exported it.
And that this was brushed up. Like it's kind of glossed over.
Okay.
And I feel like both the story and Guillermo del Toro's aesthetic don't really lend themselves to that airbrushing of a shot or
Ah.
a scene. And that's where you're kind of like, oh, I just wish it had been left alone. And with the writing of this, the screenplay is also done by Guillermo del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there are some moments where it's kind of hit too hard, like when Elizabeth is breaking off her mésalliance with Victor, and she kind of goes, "Look at this butterfly. It's so beautiful and so trapped. Everything is about the choice." And you're like, "Okay, this is hitting it really hard on the metaphor."
Oh, I 100% know what you mean. This is a Netflix thing of like someone might be on the phone. So can we just explain the thing 4 more times, please? Just so people feel like they're still getting it without having to look up from their phones.
Exactly. So I feel like that's quite there. And I think
That I
it,
fully see that. That's sad.
in a way, it can be read as staying faithful to the books because some of the dialogue is like literal lines from the book, which I think is fantastic. Very few films that are book adaptations do that. So I'm really like impressed by the way that they were able to incorporate that. But then again, at certain moments, you're like, okay, this is a film though. We don't need this to be dialogue. This could have very well just been visual.
Yeah, and I think again one of his most famous films, Shape of Water, right? Award-winning film. He has Sally Hawkins, who doesn't say a word because she's mute in that film, and then a fish monster, and he's able to do so much without any dialogue at all. So I don't believe Guillermo del Toro can't do this.
Exactly. Which is why I brought up Netflix because I was like, Netflix has had some say in this for sure.
Which is sad because I feel Netflix makes these films for awards. Like Netflix is still trying to get their Oscar. They're still not able to. But then what's the point, Netflix? Like if you don't want to
Exactly.
give an author money to make this.
It's not produced by Netflix. It has a few other production companies.
Yeah.
But it's the main and only primary distributor is Netflix. So
Yeah.
the politics of that aside, whatever. So I don't really want to talk about the kind of content of the film because Frankenstein has been theorized to death.
Oh, 100%.
The movie reflects all of those theories really well. Like the monster is not the creature, the monster is Frankenstein who created the creature is not Frankenstein is Frankenstein, there's a god complex at play here. There's a lot of, I can read it as queer allegory as well of like casting aside your child when it's not what you want it to be, kind of parenthood, etc., which I think is all very
Neurodivergency comes into that. There's a very strong trans narrative of creating your own body, of not being born as who you want it to be. There's like racial allegory to Frankenstein in a lot of ways as well, of differing body. Like Frankenstein is, that's why when I say it's such a seminal piece, that it's credit to Mary Shelley who wrote it again in the 1800s, that it is written so well that it's able to be amiable to so many readings in such incredible and complex ways.
Exactly. She kind of filled Frankenstein up as this timeless, like across time piece that you can, at any different given moment in time, you can analyze it in a different kind of way that would be pertinent to the times you are living in or the times that were going on back then. So I think it's really great. I think what Guillermo del Toro does add with the casting of Mia Goth as both the lover and the mother of both Frankenstein and the creature implied allegorically is this kind of Freudian aspect to it, which I haven't read the book, but someone who did said that's not really that prominent. But to anyone who is aware of Freud's theories, it's very Freudian, which I think ties perfectly in with the Gothic Victorian aesthetic. So I think Guillermo del Toro has done a really great job of adapting this book and taking all of its kind of parts, theoretical and aesthetic, and making this whole. And it's 150 minutes long, which is a long time, but it never feels like a drag, which I think ultimately at the end of the day is a win.
100%. I think the reason I go to see any Guillermo del Toro film, especially like his adaptations, is because I know he'll have something more to say. he'll have digested it and he'll tell you, this is what the thing was saying and this is what it meant to me. This is what I read from it and I want to show you my perspective on it. So it always feels like an author taking a step to add to the piece.
Exactly.
Like any translation, any interpretation from book to screen should have something meaningful added to it. And that's what Guillermo del Toro 100% every single time brings to the table.
Exactly. Yes, I think this is a really, really good, solid adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Perfect. So those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. If you enjoyed this, please do share it. See you again next time.